Two big things on my mind tonight, this morning actually, let's be real, it's morning, on that rare morning that I record a podcast. We have a new Stern pinball machine being announced today, which is fantastic. Ghostbusters, big secret, I know. And also, next week, one week from tomorrow, the Texas Pinball Festival. So episode 220 is going to be talking to Jody and talking to Ed. So let's go. Welcome to Coast2Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast, commentary man at the quarters, ... Hope you're all doing well. Ghostbusters is being announced now. Got to have a nice chat with Jody Dankberg from Stern Pinball, director of marketing there, about some of the features, some of the ideas that went into the game, just kind of a general overview of the game's three models being released: Pro, Premium, LE. The Slimer Edition, limited edition, is limited to 500 games, I think they say. The Premium model, which was sort of talked about whether or not that was coming, has the Ecto 1 artwork similar to the Pro model, but with some differences, kind of tweaked differences, very good looking. But let's get in depth with these games. We'll try and talk about them on a future episode, maybe once I get to play them. But Jody Dankberg was gracious enough to spend some time with me on the phone, and we go over it, get a little insight into the world of Stern Pinball, which is always cool. And then we pivot to Mr. Ed Vanderveen at the Texas Pinball Festival, and I'll be out there next week. Hope to see a lot of you there. Going to be a lot of fun, and they had to make some changes to the tournament layout and rules as far as qualifications based on an immense amount of interest that I don't think was foreseen. And we talk a little bit about that. So I hope you guys enjoy episode 220 of Coast2Coast Pinball. Let's get going. All right, I want to welcome back to Coast2Coast Pinball, Director of Marketing for Stern Pinball, Jody Dankberg. How are you, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Dude, thanks for coming on. It's like, this is like the big day. A few times a year, you have this massive day where you blow everybody's mind and release a new pinball machine. How's that feeling today?
It's like Christmas.
It is like Christmas.
Or Hanukkah, as we celebrate in my house. But yes, it's an exciting day.
Who saw this one coming, right? Wait a minute, no.
The worst kept secret in pinball?
That's okay, right? It's exciting.
Hey, you know what? I gotta say, it's good to see people excited about pinball and excited about Ghostbusters, because it's exciting.
Well, because, I mean, Jody, all the leak stuff was all you on purpose. I know. We don't have to get into that. It's exciting. We're having a good time. Don't hang up on me. Sorry. So I watched the teaser video. It's awesome. It's a very cool behind-the-scenes look at the development of the game. We got to see some of the DMD animations coming together, some of the playfield, both sides. And then we've got these photos we're just going through, and I've been reading your press release. Ghostbusters Pinball is coming. So I guess as someone who works pretty directly with, getting the themes picked out and marketed for the company, when did the idea of doing Ghostbusters come about, and was it like right from the start, like, yes, that's a great theme, or, I mean, did you know how good it was going to go over?
Well, I got to say, I've always been a huge fan of Ghostbusters. I remember in it was 83. 83. I remember being in the third grade, and somebody's dad took him to see Ghostbusters, man, and like there was like a group of kids at lunch that had seen Ghostbusters, and like a group of kids who hadn't, and I was in the have-nots, and so that was horrible. So I begged my father to take me to see Ghostbusters, and, obviously, iconic movie, super quotable, and would always thought, that would make a great theme for pinball. Can't believe nobody had ever done it. And we have a really good relationship with the people over at Sony, and every year we'd see them. I've only been doing this with Gary now for about 6 years. So every year we see the people from Sony over at the licensing show, and we go and say hi and talk to our buddies over there. And we'd always talk about, say, hey, so what's good? What you got? And they would always say, well, we got the tried and true Ghostbusters, and I think it was always kind of a scary theme for Stern to consider licensing, because it had been old, right? It was
sure.
It just celebrated its 30th anniversary not that long ago. So, Gary would always say, well, there's always talk of a new movie. When are they doing the new movie? I remember Gary would always say, when are they doing the new movie? And they'd say, well, this is happening, or so-and-so's doing this, blah, 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 blah. So every year again, we'd be stopping by the Sony booth, be like, hey, what do you got? He's like, Smurfs, Ghostbusters. He's like, okay, cool. Hey, check out Ecto One. Gary, you want to sit in the Ecto One? And like, it kind of became a joke. And then so shortly after that, I want to say about a year and a half ago, Gary and I were on a trip to LA, and we were seeing a few different licensors, and we stopped by Sony to see the guys. And they were able to, we met another guy over there who was, very passionate about the Ghostbusters brand and who worked on all the licensed product. And they gave us this really, really nice presentation for like an hour long. We had a lot more time to spend with them than we do at the Las Vegas trade shows, And so really nice presentation, and we walked out of there, and Gary says to me, I think maybe we should do that, And I'm like, hey, all right, I'm ready.
There you go.
I've been ready. And so that's really how it came to be. And, of course, they have the new movie coming out, and, our goal was to kind of be right in the mix with the marketing hype of the name Ghostbusters, with their relaunch of the franchise. So
was there ever
the timing is really good.
Was there ever any thought from your end or any push from Sony's end on making a machine based on the new movie?
Oh, never, not from our licensing guys anyway. They had always pitched us a pure, Ghostbusters vision, and really were just really, really cool people to work with. Gave us a lot of freedom to do a lot of cool things with the property. But no, they were, they're passionate about the classic Ghostbusters brand, because they know that's what people are nostalgic for. Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, we've had lots of rumors about the game going forward, and I think, some of the facts to get out of the way, and I want to kind of touch on them one by one here. This is a John Trudeau designed game. Yeah,
absolutely. Dr. Flash. And John's really an amazing guy, and just a really great person, and also a really great pinball designer.
He does not disappoint with unique layouts, that's for sure. This is another one.
He takes risks, which, when you take risks and they pay off, they're really rewarding. And this Ghostbusters game is, I've heard some people say it's some of his finest work, and it really is. It really is cool. It shoots really well, and the layout is really intelligent with the theme in mind, and I think people are really going to have fun with it.
Next one of the most obvious things I think people are probably checking out as they look at the game today and some of the stuff they're seeing online is the artwork. And you guys brought in an artist who goes by the name Zombie Yeti, Jeremy Packer, who had his sort of foray into pinball on a much more, sort of somber project that never happened, obviously. What was it like getting Zombie Yeti involved with the company, working on Ghostbusters? And I mean, it looks amazing from where I'm sitting.
Well, I have to credit our art director Greg Ferris for making that all happen. I think we had seen Jeremy's work, and I'd actually seen a lot of Jeremy's work outside of the pinball. He does a lot of really cool posters, and for all sorts of different types of, a lot of music posters, concert posters, and I'd always seen his work at Comic-Con in San Diego, where you live, and so I'd always known who he was. I didn't realize he lived in Indiana and was into pinball or anything like that. But so Greg, I don't know if he got in touch with Greg or Greg got in touch with him, and I know they met a few times, and Greg and George Gomez, our VP of game design, hired Jeremy, and he's just a pleasure to work with. I mean, this guy is not only super talented, as you can see by his amazing artwork, but he's just really a really nice guy and knows a lot about pop culture and stuff like that. So he comes at it from almost like from a fan's perspective as well. Like, what would I like to see if I was buying a Ghostbusters pin or whatever he's working on? And he likes challenges, and this is definitely a challenge because doing his style of artwork on a licensed property, I think was probably was an ambitious task, and I think we pulled it off pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that I think that a licensor would let you kind of have this artistic freedom with something as well known as Ghostbusters, especially with actors as well known as that cast, to kind of draw them into this pinball world.
Blew me away that they were so cooperative in that respect. So, you know, we as a company have been trying to focus more on vibrant colors and hand-drawn pinball artwork, or, you know, hard lines, stuff like our recent Spider-Man or Kiss game, Metallica, now our Ghostbusters game. We're striving to have more games that have that style and look and feel. And so, but the biggest challenge that people always say is, well, you know, licensor's never going to let you do it, just like you said, Nate, right? No,
yeah,
I can't believe they let you do that. So, but what's the worst they could say is no, right? So I challenged, you know, I said, well, I think we could do this. But, you know, I checked out Zombie Yeti stuff, right? And I went on his website, and I saw some really great likeness stuff that he had done. He even did and if you go on his website, you'll see that he did this really cool portrait of Bill Murray. And I was like, this guy can, I bet you this guy can do more than, you know, what we've seen, you know, and let's do some sketches of some of the characters from the style guide. So, you know, Ghostbusters obviously, you know, Sony provided us with the style guide, and it had like images of all the actors, you know, stills from the movie and stuff like that. And I'm actually looking at the drawings right here on my computer right now. I have it as my screensaver, the first sketch Zombie Yeti did for this. And he did a sketch of Rick Moranis and Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis and Bill Murray, and he did his own interpretation of Slimer. And you know what we should do, Nate? We should get the original drawing of this and give it away to one of your listeners, maybe. That'd be cool.
Hey, man, if you want to do it, let's do it. I'm all for that.
Let's do it.
We can make that happen.
We'll do it. To the fifth caller.
The fifth person who calls me. That's actually, I probably shouldn't say that. Somebody will figure that out.
Don't give out your number.
So the fifth person that calls Jody.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Nate will do something cool on his Facebook, and he'll give away this picture. But anyway, so this is the picture that I sent to Sony, and I said, hey, what do you think? And they go, you guys are thinking of going on kind of a cartoony look? And we said, yeah. And they said, cool. And so it just kind of progressed from there. And next thing you know, we're submitting back glasses and side art panels and all sorts of stuff. And you know, and all the actors had to sign off on it. You know, the biggest challenge with the actors was just getting in touch with them mostly.
Yeah, you've got you we're talking like Rick Moranis, Sigourney Weaver, and then obviously the Ghostbusters guys. Yeah, and you know, and Harold Ramis' estate was pretty awesome to work with. They're really been fantastic, and they've been really big supporters of the project. Oh, that's good to hear. I think this is a tribute to him, if nothing else.
Well, I'd like to think that he'd think it was pretty cool, you know, and I think it would make him proud. And so the biggest challenge was wrangling everybody up and, you know, getting everybody cool with the idea of Zombie Yeti drawing him up, you know.
That's awesome.
And so we did that, and I mean, again, real simple licensing process. Sony is a big supporter of the Ghostbusters brand, and I think it's cool for them to have something new and unique in their catalog. You know what I mean?
Definitely. So I'm kind of looking at the premium LE playfield right now, and if, at a glance, it's a packed game. There's a lot going on in this game. You've got very cool molded cityscapes in a couple different places. You've got is that the bank or the library? What is this on the left side?
I believe that's the public library.
The public library, and then you've got like a cityscape.
Not the New York Public Library.
No. Just the
public library.
Just the random city public library.
Just the random public library.
And then you've got a cityscape actually on top of the pop bumpers.
Yeah, so that's like a little molded piece of plastic there that's kind of mimics a skyline. Again, we kind of created our own metropolis, if you will, where our Ghostbusters live. And so there's a mixture of those molded buildings. There's some butyrates that mimic buildings, where you see the Stay Puft Marshmallow kind of peering through the buildings there, and then of course on the left you see the firehouse
and the Ghostbusters firehouse.
And there's something really cool in the firehouse. If you're a big Ghostbusters fan, you'll recognize all the little stuff in the windows.
I see a pinball machine, which is pretty awesome.
I think it's a Stargazer. I think.
Oh, very cool.
Stern Stargazer.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So. I don't even know where to start with this game because there's so much going on. The Ecto goggles is the sort of, we heard rumors of a possible hologram / peppered ghost technology coming into play, and that turns out to be true, which surprised me. Explain a little bit about what that's going to be like with the hologram idea on the playfield here.
Well, again, it's kind of like that Pepper's Ghost, right? Old school trick where you're shining an image, reflecting it, and then it's creating what appears to be a ghost. And it's been done on pinball before. It was done, Pinball 2000.
Yep.
Remind me of the games. There was a Star Wars game. What was the other game that was really
Revenge
cool?
from Mars? Yeah.
Revenge from Mars. Yeah. Revenge from Mars was great, and I think it was the best execution of that technology that we saw. Was that Revenge from Mars game was really cool.
Yeah.
And so, and I think if that technology had continued, Nate and you and I talked about this, I think if that technology had kind of continued on and more games were made on that platform, I think we would have seen some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, what could have been, certainly. I think once they got past the gimmick of it all, you would have seen some really cool gameplay stuff. So I
think you got some different people looking at it and doing different things with it. It could have been pretty neat. So, that being said, I think that trick or that pinball trick, because it's now a pinball trick, it's in pinball history, right?
Yes.
That pinball trick is kind of, ours is a bit different than that, because of copyrights and whatnot. But we did a similar trick with our Ecto goggles. So you're seeing a hologram basically underneath that mirror, and it's being projected by a small little television screen inside the Ecto goggles. And what you see the two little octo switches on the side of the hologram there. Yeah. So the ball will travel up that lane, and as it passes through the optos, much like when we're killing things on Revenge from Mars, the ghost will explode, or if it's Slimer, he might melt into slime, or if it's the librarian. You imagine if the librarian was there, and the librarian all of a sudden turned into the scary librarian, right? Yeah. And so there's a lot of cool tricks that they can do with that. And it really just lent itself to the theme, right? Ghostbusters, right? So you can't have Ghostbusters without a ghost. So there's our ghost.
That's really cool. What else we got? We've also got a floating Slimer toy. And you were telling me that the LE premium version will be a little bit different than the Pro version. Kind of tell me how that toy interacts with the game.
So they both do the same thing, except the LE premium version kind of has a little bit more mobility. So you see Slimer's up there on a levitating pole there, and the pole is above a shot. And on the Pro, Slimer will lower down, and then you'll be able to bash him. And during the modes where you're supposed to fight Slimer. In the LE and premium, he can float from different shots. So he has a lot more mobility than he does on the Pro. So he can move from like 1, 2, 3, about 4 different shots he can move and cover. So he'll be a little bit more interactive on the LEM Premium. A little bit different gameplay.
Gotcha. Okay, so what about this much talked about ramp shot? The left ramp takes this really cool angle that's very different. I like the angle that John, I guess, designed for this. And then the ramp does sort of the roller coaster trick and actually goes underground for a second on the right hand side.
So that's what we're calling our subway. And no city would be complete without an L train and a below ground train.
Oh yeah, there is actually a subway sign on that ramp, isn't there? I see that.
Yeah, there is. So the ball the ball's going to travel up that metal ramp. It's going to come around the curve and it's going to fly down into the subway. And sometimes it's going to pop up the other side and feed the lane, depending on what mode you're in. But there's going to be times in the game where you're going to want to lock balls in the storage facility, and you can see the storage facility is perched up right above there, right? And the storage facility, of course, is where you keep all the ghosts. And so you're going to want to load balls sometimes in the storage facility. So sometimes the ball will get locked down there and actually be locked into the storage facility, or sometimes it'll kick out of the scoop. You see the little scoop down there?
Yeah.
So the scoop, yeah. So depending on what mode you're in or whatever, so you imagine you load 3 balls for storage facility multi-ball, right? The game goes black, the red lights start flashing, everything starts going, then the ghosts are released. Obviously, the balls are the ghosts, right? And the balls start shooting out of the scoop, and then you're into,
that's
storage
cool.
Facility multi-ball.
That's it. That's neat because a lot of people wondered what was going to happen to the balls if they went down and didn't make it back up. But that's actually part of it, is locking them.
It's magic.
That's awesome. That's cool. You've got 2 different captive balls I see on the. This playfield's just packed. There's pop-up drop targets. Looks like Pro version has those as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 captive ball tricks. One of the captive ball tricks is pretty awesome. The librarian is. You can see that picture there. I'm looking at it on my computer as well.
Over on the left side.
Ball, there's 3 balls loaded up behind that captive ball, and what you do is one at a time. The balls will travel around, hit a couple switches, and load up 3 balls over there. And then when 3 balls are loaded, you complete a light a mode or whatever. Then the balls are released back.
That's our ball transfer target we were talking about before we started the show in the press release. Ball transfers.
I was just calling it a 3-ball captive ball.
Yeah.
But I'm just a dumb dude.
No, come on. Not just a dumb dude.
That's totally it, right?
That's what that is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Trying to see, what am I missing? There's so much else going on. Oh, one of the big things I think we need to touch on is we actually have a Ghostbuster doing custom speech for the game in Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, he was the last member of the team, but he is still on the team.
Yes.
And we love us some Ernie Hudson. Actually, technically he was not the last Ghostbuster because Rick Moranis actually was the last Ghostbuster in Ghostbusters 2. But he didn't make it, remember? But you're going to have to watch those again.
I need to go back and watch them. It's been a while. And I just said
for
that.
For your listeners who I'm sure are fluent in Ghostbuster, know that Rick Moranis was actually the final Ghostbuster. But Ernie Hudson, it was awesome. And actually... a friend of the company's, and a real pleasure to work with. Actually lives in Minnesota, not too far away from where we are, and was awesome to work with. Excited about the Ghostbusters pinball machine. Always thought that there should have been one. Little pinball fact about Ernie: I believe he did speech on Congo.
Oh, really? Another John Trudeau game.
Another John Trudeau game.
Yeah,
exactly. So. The gang getting back together again, John and Ernie, and he was awesome to work with. So we got again a custom speech script and sent that over to him, and so he's kind of like your guide. You'll start the game, and he's going to greet you. He's going to call you a rookie or something like that, because he's an older Ghostbuster, and he's teaching you the ways of Ghostbusters, and he'll walk you through the modes and stuff like that. And, no, really, really cool, and just. That along with all the speech from the movies and stuff, it's every time you play it, you're just sucked right into Ghostbusters. It's pretty awesome.
That's very cool. I'm pretty excited to play it. So we're going to see some of these soon. We're probably going to see this game as early as Texas, maybe.
Yeah, it's possible. Amusement Expo in Las Vegas, where a lot of our commercial customers are going to be.
Yep.
We're showing it off on March 15th. We will be doing a stream from the factory with our friend Jack from Dead Flip.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Danger will be putting Ghostbusters Pro through its paces, and I think we'll be joined by some guys who worked on the game. I know Dwight's interested in coming out and playing for everybody, and Dwight's quite a competitive player.
I've seen Dwight's Super Selfie League photos popping up in my Facebook feed in Chicago.
Dwight's awesome. So he told me the other day, he's like, I've never taken so many selfies in my life. And I was laughing a little bit, and I said, oh yeah. I said, how many selfies have you taken? He said 7. And I said, how many? And I said, how many have you taken for the tournament? He said 6. I said, well, that's a high percentage. Yeah, you're right. But you've never taken so many selfies in your entire life. This is true.
Dwight's coming off a pretty successful, code launch with Game of Thrones, having really good rule sets in code at launch, and it's been tweaked since then.
Sounds like an athlete. He's coming off a good off season.
Yeah. So should we expect similar type level of launch code on Ghostbusters?
Well, yeah, I think not just Dwight, but all the guys working on code right now, we're striving to get better at what we do, and part of that is releasing a more polished game upon release. And of course, we're going to have updates and bug fixes, but we want to strive to always deliver a pretty complete game upon release. And I think we did that with Game of Thrones, and I think Ghostbusters will be right up there with that.
One thing we didn't touch on, you have to explain to the listeners here the ghost slings on the premium and the limited edition. The slingshots are not your typical slingshots. No,
they're not your typical slingshots. So if Nate, you're looking at the pictures there, if you see, so to the you just randomly look at it, they look like normal slingshots, but there's no coil under there kicking these slings. There's just a little switch that every time you hit the rubbers on the slings, it'll trigger the switch. But what that switch does is it activates. There's 2 magnets that are underneath the playfield that are kind of to the left and right of the 100 and the 80 there. And basically, what that does is I call them ghost slings. And so, like, what they're doing is they're controlling the ball. So we've been able to get some really amazing ball action with this cool trick with the 2 magnets next to each other. So we're able to bounce the ball between the slingshots. We're able to bounce the ball on one slingshot, just bouncing back and forth from the middle. We're able to shoot the ball back up the play field. We're able to just do a lot of neat things with this stuff. And again, since there's the magnets are under the playfield, it kind of gives a cool illusion that there's a ghost moving the ball around.
I mean, that's a real first. No one's ever done anything like that on a pinball machine. That I haven't been around that long, but I don't know if that's been done before. I certainly don't. I know there's been dead slings over the years where there's nothing, just a rubber bounce. But active magnets is that. I mean, that could lead to some just insane physics going on with the ball. That's really interesting.
I hope so. It's one of the first ideas. I think it was the first idea for this game. Back when we told Mr. Trudeau that he's going to be making Ghostbusters, I'm pretty sure, because I remember seeing a test fixture in Dwight's office back at the old place in Melrose Park, and it just had that on it, and so it's kind of neat to see it come from just a piece of plywood with 2 magnets on it, plugged into a computer to what it is. It's going to be awesome.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Do you have dates for us on when we might see these games shipping out of the factory?
Well, we've been building pilot games. We built a good amount of pilot games. Putting them through their paces. They go on to different test locations. There's a big bank of them here that we're playing, and a bunch that are going to shows. But export containers always go first, so we'll be starting production on that stuff in the next few weeks, and then after that will be LE, and then premiums follow the LE.
Yep, so we've got pros, premiums, and limited editions. We were kind of going through the artwork earlier. The pro and the premium have sort of similar artwork on the cabinets.
Similar on the cabinets. With respect, they both have the cool Ecto-1 kind of screaming down the street. The pro features the firehouse, which is got kind of a cool pink, bunch of pink and blue ghosts coming flying out of the top of the firehouse, kind of swirling around the cabinet. The premium is what we call the Stay Puft Marshmallow edition.
Oh, he's like melting on the back glass. I feel bad for him all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's like so the back glasses are all kind of the same but different, right? So we moved some characters around on the different back glasses. So the pro has the Terror Dogs, kind of front and center, and then the Stay Puft obviously has the big giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man who's really melting. It's pretty wicked image. I mean, again, approved by Sony.
Did Stay Puft get involved in that, or who is that?
We had to contact Stay Puft's people. Stay Puft Estate, actually, because he's no longer with us.
He's no longer with us. Yeah, that's good.
But we were able to get his likeness, so it was pretty awesome. And they were okay with us melting his face off. And then so you see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on the side of the cabinet, kind of stomping down the street, kind of continuing onto the cabinet art, chasing down the Ecto-1.
Oh,
they
yeah,
both have different kind of cabinet fronts. And then
that's good. That's really good looking cabinet art. That might be my favorite cabinet art on a Stern game in recent memory. I don't know if I can think of anything I like better than that. That's really cool.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's just like a giant mural of original art. It's really cool. And then the Slimer edition, and everyone's favorite ghost is Slimer.
Yep.
I think around my house, my kids love Slimer. And so we did a 500 limited edition Slimer editions, and we slimed a lot of things on it. We slimed the decals, slimed the armor. The armor comes in a slime green, and it has that back glass features Slimer on the front.
Yeah, Slimer's kind of down in the front. You've got, it looks like Dan Aykroyd on the side of the head.
Yeah, on the side. Yeah, on the side there's a cool vignette of Aykroyd on one side and then Harold Ramis on the other side.
Oh, cool!
Kind of with their proton packs kind of shooting down at Slimer. It's kind of that's kind of like the whole dining room scene down there.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah, I see the bottle of wine there and everything. That's cool.
Yeah, so iconic Slimer scene, and really excited about it. I think people are that's gonna be a really cool collectible.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's talk about the next game coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, that never works. I mean, I don't even know why I try.
Well, maybe you have to work at Stern to know what's happening at Stern. So.
Oh well, all we can do is strive. We try here at Coast to Coast Pinball. Well, Jody, I'm excited. I think that the launch is probably going to go fantastic. I think these games look really good. I can't wait to play it. I wish you guys the best of luck with these. And, yeah, man, thank you for coming on Coast to Coast today.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for loving pinball, Nate.
Yeah, man, that's what we do. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Welcoming back to Coast Pinball, Mr. Ed Vanderveen. How are you, sir?
I am doing well, Mr. Shivers.
So,
how are you?
Man, is this 3 years in a row you're coming on the show before the show?
I don't know.
I think so.
Since then.
Yeah,
probably.
It just kind of whips right around, doesn't it?
It does.
So we're 8 days out from the Texas Pinball Festival, probably 7 days or less when most people hear this. Are you ready?
No, but we will. But it's going to come either way, and we will get through it.
What do you mean no? Do you mean no? Like you had to make a bunch of changes to something at the last second today?
Well, we did have to make change. Yes, I know. Yes. We did have to make a change to the tournaments. Unfortunately, when we finally started looking at them and doing the math, it turned out that there was just no way we were going to get the number of players that were signed up using the format they were using. There was no way we were going to be able to finish qualifications on time and have everybody finish their play. So we had to make a decision of either get in front of it as soon as possible and make a change and notify everybody and plead the case of, this is going to make the tournaments run smooth, or we just let it go as is and hopefully not watch it crash and burn.
No,
so
you made the right call.
We haven't done too well with that other decision. So I figured, this time we better get in front of it and fix it before it gets away from us.
I'm really glad you guys caught it, because what was going to happen now? Let's be clear. When we got together months back, sort of in powwow on how could we make the tournament better, I don't think you expected us to have 170-ish people sign up. 160 is what we had, and because in the years past, the most we had playing the tournament was just a little over 100, and so I never thought that we would get. But given the prize pool is so much better, and we did, we put together a great format, so I think that drew a lot of people back to the tournaments. Yeah, I posted this on Pinside in the thread about it. I said this was supposed to be the rebuilding year where we sort of earned the reputation back, and then
right.
But I think pinball people are smart enough to see the layout, know that it's at the Texas Pinball Festival, and think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm glad you did this, because if you hadn't made the change, we would have been cutting people off and not letting them finish their qualifying, and it would have been ugly.
It would have been.
So for those who don't know, basically the tournament has changed from a 30-entry qualification limited herb style to a 20-entry qualification limited herb style on 10 of 12 games, your best 10 of 12, instead of all 12 and 30 tries. The time just wasn't going to work out. So
I apologize for that, for anyone that's upset, but it'll. I'm telling you, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I actually think it'll be a lot of fun. So, okay, so the tournament will be great. Let's talk about the festival. This is when we started talking about Texas Pinball Festival on this show years ago, I remember thinking the first time I saw it, like, wow, I can't believe how big and clean and friendly it all is. That seems to have permeated throughout pinball, and now your festival is just kind of thought of as the biggest and best, pure pinball festival type environment out there. Are you proud?
We're very proud, and I'm very happy when people say that. We spend, hundreds of hours preparing for the show, and my wife Kim, she's in there right now working on the floor plan. It's changed 4 times, and I just brought in all the registers that have to be reprogrammed, and it's incredible. Right after the holidays, it's, if it's not our full-time job, it's just TPF all the time. My living room looks like it's got stuff all over the place. So yes, it's very nice when and rewarding when people tell us what a nice show it is and how nice it is, and that does mean a lot to us. But we do work very hard at it.
I don't know if you want to give actual attendance numbers, but attendance has been rising the last few years, correct?
It has. It usually about 20%. Every year we see.
Do you kind of see that happening again this year?
Yes, and that's in both just attendees and exhibitors. It's amazing to me how many more exhibitors bring their games every year. And every year I start panicking towards the end because I think, oh my gosh, where the games are here. But then just these last few weeks, people just start registering them like crazy. And that has a lot to do with the other great exhibitors, and they talk to each other, and people come to the show and see it, and they think, oh, I'm going to bring a game next year. And then they word of mouth more than anything. People just love the show, and they tell their friends, and here they come.
How many pinball machines do you expect to have at the show this year?
Last Kim just counted. I think we're over we're pushing 350.
That's awesome.
And I bet we hit close to 4 by the time the show, because we have so many people that still are registered, but they just don't know what they're going to bring. And we have a lot of vendors that are coming that are bringing games, but they just, they don't know until days before the show what they're going to bring. So they don't tell us, and so we don't list them. And by the time they show up, there's usually 10 to 15% more games show up than what we have listed on the website.
Are there any interesting machines that are coming that might be exciting for someone who doesn't get out to a lot of these shows?
There are quite a few. Last year, the grand champion winner, the acrylic pinball machine, is coming back. And off the top of my head, there's going to be several. Well, it's been a couple years, but I know there's going to have several Medieval Madnesses. Spooky Pinballs bring in the 2 Rob Zombies They're going to have those set up in their booth along with America's Most Haunted. I'm sure something from Stern's going to be there. That'll be nice and exciting. Hobbit's going to be there.
Yep.
As far as custom games go, Spinal Tap, there's a collector in the Ozark Pinball Club. He brought it last year. It was still kind of a work in progress, but it was still very cool to look at, and I think he's done some more work to it. Hopefully it's come along a little bit. That was a neat game, and you just never know. There's going to be a ton of stuff. Of course, I'll have Cactus Canyon Continued there, Cactus Canyon being the theme of the show, and I've got a Cactus Canyon Continued and an original Cactus Canyon will be sitting right next to it, so
fantastic.
That's always fun.
Absolutely. I know we're going to get to see games of all eras as well. You tend to have a nice lineup of classic games there, too.
Yes. Now that you've said that, we're also going to have a Jeff Frick of Austin is going to be hosting a section called The History of Pinball, and he is going to have just a whole array of games spanning from the early days, on up into the late 50s, and I don't quite know what the newest one is, but I think mostly from the 30s and the 40s. He's going to have all those old tabletops and some of the very first pinball machines that came to market and then became what we know as the modern pinball machine. It's going to be very interesting. He's got a lot of history facts and banners and stuff, and it's going to be very cool.
That is very cool. I think this is probably the biggest industry year that I've seen at the Texas Pinball Festival, which I remember the first year I went, everyone said, oh yeah, it's a great collector's show. The tournament's had its issues, and they don't get a lot of industry folk. I remember somebody saying that to me. You certainly couldn't say that about 2016, because you have a ton of industry people coming and speaking and showing off games.
We do. For the first time, and in fact, I passed over him just a minute ago, but also Andrew Highway Pinball, they're coming, bringing full throttle.
Dutch Pinball's coming.
Dutch Pinball's coming. There's going to be two Big Lebowskis there. It's just I'm doing all this from the hip, so my brain is kind of frazzled from all the festivities I've been working on today.
Yeah, there's going to be Stern's Spider-Man Vault Edition. There's going to be a lot of really interesting stuff. A lot of good speakers.
American Heroes Raffle, and I think Marco Specialties will have one.
Excellent. I'm curious about Jim Shelberg's titled seminar, Pinball Hiding Your Gun While Drunk and Bare Naked. I'd like to know exactly what we were in for with Jim on this one.
I have to disavow all knowledge of what's happening with that seminar. He gave me the title, and I was laughing so hard, I just said, okay, Jim, it's going to be entertaining, I hope. So Jim's a nice guy. Honestly, I have no idea what his seminar is going to entail. I know he's going to bring candy and some giveaways for people, but I'm sure it entails pinball in the media and that kind of thing. He's kind of really into that, pinball in the media and video clips and pinball machines and movies and that kind of thing.
Stern is really highly represented this year. I see we have a Steve Ritchie seminar, which is always good.
We do. Steve is kind of he's our mascot. He comes to every Texas Pinball Festival. We wouldn't have a show without him.
You also have John Trudeau speaking on Saturday.
Yes.
And he may or may not have a game being announced.
Fingers crossed.
Now,
I wonder what that could be. I mean, I'm at a loss. I'm at a total loss of what that might be.
Spoiler alert, Ed, Jody's coming on the show before you on this episode. So
I'll have to listen so I can find out.
Out of the bag. Yeah, I think everybody will know tomorrow morning. Out. Yeah. I myself am hosting a special Coast2Coast Pinball Live, and I like that you capitalize live and put an exclamation point after it because that's very important. It's Coast2Coast Pinball Live with George Gomez, which is really an honor for me. Fantastic history in video game and pinball and just the industry and his role at Stern now. So that'll be a lot of fun.
George will be a great guest for you to speak to. He's got a lot of great stories, and he's been around a long time, ever since Williams, and so he's seen it all.
Yep, absolutely. So that's going to be good. I know Dutch Pinball's doing a seminar, Multimorphic. Jerry Stellenberg is bringing the P3 and announcing a bunch of new games for that.
He did. He's going to announce, I think he's already announced them, and he's going to unveil them, I believe, at the show. So he's announced 4 titles. I don't know a lot about them, but I know he's very excited about it. He's going to have a 12 noon seminar and invite people to come check all that out. And then he's going to have another session in his booth where he kind of He's calling it a deep dive, where he's going to actually let people get in there and see what all's going on inside the game.
That's cool. That's very cool. Let's talk a little bit about other stuff that's going on around the show. I know you're doing something new this year called the TPF Celebrity Smackdown.
Yes, this is a new. This is kind of a fun, and I want to call it a tournament, but it's really a one-on-one tournament. And what we're going to do is, I've ordered a whole bunch of these little 24 karat gold plastic trophies, and they say I beat blank.
Hold on. 24 karat gold plastic trophies.
You
got
heard
it
correctly.
Got it.
And so they say I beat, and there's a blank there at the TPF 2016, and I'm going to give several of those to many of our special guests: Steve Ritchie, Mark Ritchie, John Trudeau, Jack Danger, and Nate Shivers, and Charlie Emery, and they're going to and you're going to be tasked with going out onto the floor at sometime during the show. It can be whenever you want. And you're just going to find somebody at random and go up to them and say, hey, me and you, one game on this pinball machine right here. Winner gets a trophy.
So the word celebrity is being used very liberally here, is what you're saying.
It's going to be awesome. And then you're going to get a little pen, and you can sign it. If they beat you, you can sign it and hand it to them. If they win, if they lose, you're going to have these little second place loser ribbons that you can hand to them, and they're going to have to wear those the rest of the show and walk around with it. It's going to be great.
Oh, I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to make sure I tilt through on everybody if I can.
You're going to throw all the games.
No, that'll be fun. I like it. That's good stuff. That'll be a lot of fun.
It's going to be the most cherished trophy of the whole show.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, it doesn't quite come with that, $2,500, $2,800 cash prize that first place does in the Wizard tournament. But
you realize about your tournament, not to jump back to the tournament, but it's one of the biggest tournaments in the world now, with 160 entrants. There's not many tournaments that do that many entrants.
See, you could have told me we were still the smallest, and I would have believed you. That's horrible that I don't know these things, but I just don't. All I ever hear about is Pinburg and 700 people.
Well, okay,
think, oh my God, we got to be so small for 160.
I asked Josh via text message earlier. I said, how many pinball tournaments in the world get 150 or more entrants? And he said 7. So you're one of 7, I believe, that gets this many. I don't even know what the other ones are. Pinburg, Papa, you guys, maybe Expo, maybe Cal Extreme. I'm not sure.
So now there's really no pressure for these things to go over well.
Well,
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Is there? What am I doing for food at the Texas Pinball Festival?
For food, of course, there's they have inside the game room. There is the concession stands where they have a lovely variety of hot dogs and pizza and Texas nachos and that kind of thing, and an open bar in the evening. And then we also have there will be a nice array of food trucks right outside the venue with all kinds of gourmet food trucks, which always surprised me, because when I was a kid, a food truck was not something you wanted to eat out of, but apparently it's very hip these days, and everybody loves the food trucks.
Hey, man. It's just like pinball, It's all back now. It's back and it's better.
I guess so. And if that doesn't do it for you, then there is the Stonebriar Mall right across the street, surrounded by an array of restaurants, everything from the famous Wild Pitch sports bar that seems to be very popular to Mexican or Italian or anything you want, barbecue. It's all right there.
Do you still need volunteers for the show?
We do need some volunteers for the show. I could not tell you in what areas. That is something my lovely bride, Kim, does. But if anybody's interested, they could certainly send her an email at kim@texaspinball.com and find out what she needs, and she will take care of you.
That's awesome. Let's see. Am I missing anything? I think that's the overview. I'm excited to get there. Hotel sold out, I'm assuming?
Hotel sold out back in October.
Jeez.
Overflow Hotel across the street. There may be some rooms left. I know the TPF blocks have sold out. There's a Hampton Inn down the road that is offering free shuttle service back and forth to the show if you want to grab a room at the Hampton. Of course, I'm looking at my schedule here going, gosh, what did we miss?
Oh, we missed lots of stuff, I'm sure. Your show is so big now.
Spooky Pinball's doing a seminar.
Ben Heck will be there.
Ben Heck's going to be there. Oh, I think somebody, of course, not to jump back again to the tournaments, but I do think there's a couple of dudes that are going to broadcast and be commentators at the finals and broadcast it all over the World Wide Web.
It's going to be the ever wonderful man with the best hair in pinball, Jack Danger, and myself. We're going to be commentating the finals. Details sketchy as of right now, I think, on that. But there will be a Twitch broadcast via Dead Flip happening there, I believe.
I've got equipment. We've got a little stage set up for y'all with a big monitor so you can pick whatever game and commentate for that. And I told you off. We got cowboy hats for y'all. It's going to be awesome.
I mean, as long as there's a cowboy hat, we're going to be in good shape.
I'm telling you, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. Y'all are going to have such a good time. I even got a super fast upload speed for y'all on the internet through the hotel.
That's brilliant. Okay, so Ed, I can't wait. That's going to be awesome. Let's end the Texas Pinball Festival commercial here now. Okay, are we good? We're good. All right. What? Let's talk real talk here. What machine do you most want to play next week?
What machine?
Yeah, like what are you looking forward to?
Oh man, I don't get to play anything. I want to play Rob Zombie because I ordered one. I'm looking forward to that. I want to play all of them. I want to play. Even though I have a Spider-Man original, I want to check out the new Vault Edition just to see it.
Did you like the looks of the new Vault Edition?
I'm sorry?
Did you like the look of the new Vault Edition?
I do. You know, I'm a lot older than I don't know what that version of Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. I grew up with in the Steve Ditka, John Romita.
Yep, totally.
And so that's Spider-Man to me. The Ultimate Spider-Man. I mean, it's great artwork, but that's just not the Spider-Man I'm used to. That looks kind of very. I want to say cartoony, but of course it is a cartoon. But I think you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
So, but it still looks cool from the pictures that I've seen. But I want to see whatever. Hopefully, if Stern unveils something, that would be kind of cool. And I don't know, maybe Andrew High will unveil something. You never know. That would be pretty awesome if he did. I want to play Big Lebowski.
No, see, you're totally still in commercial mode, Ed. I'm trying to drag you into just talking mode. See.
I'm just messing with you. You asked me what I wanted to play, and that's what I want to play. Because everything else I can play. I'm not going to say, Addams Family or, I have access to all those games right here. So I'm not going to go play my games at the show.
Was there ever any consideration to doing a reunion of the cast of Pinballers? Was that on the table?
That happens all the time. You just don't know about it. We get together and we cry and, it's like, we almost made it. And, and we watch, Little Women of LA on television and say, yes, this is what people want to watch. This show right here.
That's funny. That's good stuff. What was the last thing you bought? You said you bought a Rob Zombie. What else? What was the last thing you purchased?
I bought I have a Game of Thrones LE in my game room.
I was playing Game of Thrones Premium tonight earlier. What's your take on Game of Thrones so far?
I like Game of Thrones, and of course this. I've told people this before. I'm not really a player. I just collect them. Kim is the player. She loves Game of Thrones. She loves Lord of the Rings. She likes games with deep rules. I like games like Iron Man that I just got to keep the ball in the playfield and it's just shoot the blinky lights. That's kind of what I do. Other games that I've recently purchased, not new wise. Well, I bought America's Most Haunted too, and that's Charlie's. The one that Charlie's bringing is mine. He's going to bring it and have it in his booth, and I get to take it home after the show.
That's nice.
And I bought a Safecracker recently. Actually, the most recent game that I bought is a Bally Vector, a 1984 Bally Vector that I've been playing out in the garage. I'm going to drag it to the show. That's kind of a neat game.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
I can go old school.
I like it. I'm just actually going through the list right now of what's going to be at the game. There's only going to be 4 Xenons. What's up with that?
I don't know. I called every Xenon owner I could think of, and they're all bringing it to the show. So, Color DMD is going to have some cool stuff. Last commercial, Color DMD is going to have some cool stuff that is going to be brand new.
I know, and they just did Twilight Zone, and I got to buy one now.
Dude, there's so much more that's coming. It's going to be crazy. People are going to be like, what?
Like, you got scoops? You got scoops, Ed?
No, I know nothing.
Scoops?
I know nothing.
Oh, man. I was hoping we had scoops. No, don't make Randy mad.
No.
That's all good. No, that's good stuff. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you inviting me out again. I can't wait. It's like the biggest weekend in pinball to a lot of people, I know, and it's the jewel of the festivals in a lot of ways, so I'm excited.
That's very nice of you to say, and we appreciate everything you do for pinball, Nate.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, I'll see you in like a week or so.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, sir. Yep. that is episode 220 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Can't wait for the Texas Pinball Festival. Can't wait to play some Ghostbusters. Thanks again to Jody Dankberg, Ed Vanderveen. Thank you, friendly listeners, for hanging in there for all these episodes. Blows me away. You guys are great. I will see some of you next week and hopefully talk to all of you very soon. Take care, play more pinball, and be nice to each other, would you?